Hello, and welcome to the Title Pending Podcast. I am your host this and every week. My name is Willow. Still, how's everybody doing? Now, I know I'm late, and I'm really sorry, but I have a good excuse. I was getting laid. I'm not kidding. It feels great to be out and about doing that kind of thing, and I feel as though I deserve it. So, we're gonna completely ignore that subject, and we're gonna get right into the podcast. Now, I wanted to talk about this, and one of my patrons and one of my best friends brought it up, how I should talk about my concert experiences. And I think this is a suitable time to do so, considering I just went to a concert, drove 2 hours to and from the show because I'm crazy. But I had a really good time. I saw Boston Manor headline at the Webster in Connecticut, which was cool as shit. Boston Manor, for those of you who do not know, is a quote-unquote pop-punk band from the UK. I don't want to give you a history of Boston Manor. If you want one, you can look it up. They're so good. I enjoy them so much, and I feel as though they deserve a quick shout-out and a quick recommendation from me because they're fucking rad as shit. Anyway, so I went to the show in Connecticut. I live in Massachusetts, which is close, but not close enough. You know what I mean? Close enough to where it's not unreasonable to drive for a show, but far enough away where you're gonna be fucking exhausted driving back. I drove about an hour and 50 minutes both ways. I chauffeured 3 other people. I didn't chauffeur. I offered if they wanted to come with me. This wasn't like can you, take me to this show and I'm going to completely leave you and not hang out with you at all. We all went together. I invited them and we all had a fun time. Funny story, though. We got all the way there and my tickets were will call and I got 1 ticket. I paid for 3. They were all under my name. Turns out I didn't actually pay for my original 2, which would have been horrifying if the show were sold out. Luckily enough, it wasn't. So I bought 2 tickets right there. It was fine. But it was a dilemma, and I had hit the dab pen too hard, so I was panicking. It was great. But concerts have always been something I've enjoyed doing and something I want to continue to do for as long as possible, even though I'm becoming physically incapable just because my body don't work the way it used to. I'm only 19 years old, and I can still go pretty hard at shows, but, I think my peak was when I was 17. I was going real hard. My first show that I went to, I was 13, and my mom came with me. She sat in the back. It was at the Sonks Arena in Lowell, Massachusetts, and it was All Time Low and Pierce the Veil. If that's going to give you a taste of what kind of music I grew up listening to. The Spring Fever Tour. Yeah. I was 13. I went with my best friend at the time, and we thought we were cool leaving our house at 3 p.m. We'd gotten out of school. I don't need this light on. We'd gotten out of school. I waited for her to come over. I let her borrow an All Time Low shirt. She wasn't really into them at the time, but she was willing to go with me. She was like, I've never been to a concert before. I'll listen to some of their songs. I let her borrow my CDs. I still listened to CDs in 2013 because I'm a stupid person. No. CDs are an underrepresented and underappreciated medium. Thank you very much. Anyway, the line was already wrapped around the building. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what general admission meant. It meant floor. It meant in the pit, in the crowd. There was no pit in an All Time Low show. It was a good way to ease into these types of shows. It was also at an arena, so it was heavily secured. And by that I mean security guards were fucking everywhere. But I had a really good time. And if you scroll back on my YouTube channel far enough, you could probably see how horrible the videos of that show are. But I had fun. It was great. And from there, I was hooked on going to shows. 2 weeks later, I saw Paramore for the first time, and if anybody knows me at all, and you're listening to this, Paramore's my favorite band of all time. I have 2 Paramore tattoos so far, plan on getting more, and, they've meant the world to me since I was about 8 years old. So, seeing them for the first time at a House of Blues in Boston, as opposed to where they're playing now, they've headlined Madison Square Garden, they're playing, Firefly Festival. Seeing them at a small club was life-changing, to say the least, and it was fucking incredible. I was 13, seeing my favorite band, and 13, a lot of you know because a lot of you experienced it with me, is like peak fangirl like years, and like just like the worst time. And to see your favorite band during that like hormonal, emotional time in your life, you know, it changes a person. So I had a really good experience there. I don't know how many shows I've been to total, but I know that I've started enjoying certain types of shows more than others. I really like small shows. And by that, I mean I would rather go to a club in Connecticut that holds about 200 people. The Webster, I don't know what the Webster capacity is, but it's small compared to a stadium show where you have to sit. And I've been to all types of shows. I've been to a few Warped Tours. Warped Tour is this weekend, by the way, so if you guys are in Atlantic City, in New Jersey, please be careful. Hydrate, all that crap. But anyway, I've been to a few Warped Tours. I've really had some fun there. I've been to club shows at clubs that hold 900 people, 500 people. I've also been to a few House of Blues shows. And I've also been to stadiums. I've been to the TD Garden in Boston. And I've been to the Xfinity Center, which is a place in Mansfield. That's where Warped Tour is held. But I've seen, like, actual shows there. I saw Paramore there. I met Paramore there. I've been to outdoor venues, indoor venues, rain or shine, festivals. It's, you know, I enjoy doing it. And it's something that I highly recommend you do if you haven't already. But it does get to be a little addicting, I've noticed. Excuse me, I'm drinking lemonade. Going to shows can cost you a lot of money, which is, you know, something I recommend taking into account, considering, you know, money is also necessary for some other things in your life, like sustaining yourself and your family and your friends and, you know, just having a life. Money makes the world go round, you know? But, so it can get expensive, but, you know, if you're smart about it and you save and you do, like, you know, you're not an idiot, it's not really that difficult to enjoy yourself once in a while. My favorite show that I've been to, that I can think off the top of my head, was probably when I saw Paramore for the 6th time. Yes, I have seen Paramore 6 times, and I'm an asshole, but they're my favorite band, and I would see them a million more times if I could, considering they tour extensively when they do tour, but there's such big gaps in between. But I saw them in Guilford, New Hampshire, outside at the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion. So fun. So cool. Like, they had mirrors behind them. It was such a fun show. But anyway, I also really like small shows. Like, when I saw Boston Manor, I stage dived. Is that the correct past tense? Stage dove? That doesn't sound right. My mom made fun of me for saying stage dove. But I did a few times because there was no barricade, and I had a lot of fun. I was so sweaty by the end, and then I had to drive 2 hours home, exhausted, but it was fun, and that, I think, is the most important part of going to a concert. And I really recommend anybody that wants to go to a show, just fucking do it. I'm going to Sad Summerfest in Worcester in a few weeks, and I'm so pumped. Seeing the Maine, Mom Jeans, Mayday Parade, The Wonder Years. I'm so fucking lit. 4 Years Strong. Like, I'm beyond excited for that because I couldn't go to Warped Tour this year because it was in New Jersey. See, that is where I draw the line for me. And I know a lot of people that I hang out with went to Warped Tour in New Jersey this weekend. And I'm so jealous because I couldn't do it. But it's on a beach, man. Like, I would die. I'm trying to think of, like, any insane, like, concert stories that I have. When I was younger, I used to wait outside venues for hours. Like, hours to meet bands. And I don't do that anymore because I got places to be and I have 2 jobs to maintain and wake up for the next day, usually. So, I don't really do that anymore. I've also paid for my fair share of meet and greets, which... honestly, unless you, like, really, really, really enjoy the music from this band and, like, you really want to say something to them, it's not worth the money. I'm going to be honest with you. The only meet and greets I haven't, like, regretted paying for are Watsky, Paris, and Paramore. I've only paid for one Paramore meet and greet. The second time I met them, I won a contest. But I've met Paris 3 times during meet and greets and 3 other times just by luck, like for free. One was at a signing in Boston at Newbury Comics. That was lit. But meet and greets, they're, I don't like paying to meet people for, like, a picture and to get my ticket signed. I don't think it's worth it unless I have something to say, which, I rarely ever do because I always freeze up. I don't think it's worth the money or the extra stress of, like, oh shit, I'm waiting in line, I have to be there early, like, what am I gonna say, what am I gonna do, are they gonna rush me? Like, I have some pretty cute pictures with bands because of it, but, like, it's not worth $80 to, like, say hi to people for 2 seconds and to get early entry. Like, now that I know how to be in a crowd, I don't need early entry. Like, I don't need to, like, there are people who pay for their spots, like, because they want to be close, because they don't know how to be in a crowd. Which, is fine. Like, I've done it. Wouldn't do it again, though. But I've met my fair share of, bands, and I wish that I could, like, list them without bragging, but it's gonna sound like bragging, and I apologize in advance. But I've met 21 Pilots a few times, I've met Paris a few times, Paramore twice, I have met, Watsky my fair share of times, and everybody hates me for it, for whatever fucking reason. I've met Watsky, I think, 6 or 7 times. I don't even remember. I've met Ann Arbor. I met them at Warped Tour 2013. I've met, I met Pat Miranda from Movements. I've met Knucklepuck. Trying to look at my signed things. I've met Jack Bearcat from All Time Low. I've met a lot of opening bands. But, the best experience, I think, was when I met Watsky. He just makes you feel like a person. And a lot of other bands are just not sure what to say to you. Or, like, another artist just kind of look at you and be like, so, you want a picture? Like, yeah, I want a picture, but I also have a lot to say. Like, with Watsky, I had, like, full-on conversations and enjoyed myself talking to him. And he's just a great person, and highly recommend you listen to Watsky. But, I don't really... The only band that I feel as though I need to meet before I retire myself as someone that pays to meet bands is Panic at the Disco. Like, I need to meet Brendan Urie. And that's not even for me now. That's for me when I was 13 years old. And again, a lot of you who follow me now followed me when I was 13 years old. And you know how I was about Panic at the Disco for the longest fucking time. And I don't regret it because it's a huge part of my life. Music in general is a huge part of my life. And I feel as though I need to honor that by meeting Brendan Urie. Or, at least getting recognized by him on Twitch or something. I need something. I need closure for something. I've seen Panic at the Disco my fair share of times as well. Their shows are so fun, regardless of the fact that they keep really similar set lists every fucking time I see them. I wish that they would change it up. I wish they would play some underappreciated songs. But, Trade Mistakes, I'm looking at you. You deserve to be on the set list. But that's none of my business, I guess. No, it's very much my business. I am taking it upon myself to be my business. Some bands I do want to see that I haven't seen yet. Cage the Elephant would be really fun. Mom Jeans, who I am seeing. I'm very excited for that. I want to see... Oh, man. I had a whole list and I don't even remember. Because I've seen a lot of the artists that I really listen to and really like. I want to see The Story So Far again, but I want to see them in a setting that isn't the Worcester Palladium, which is the worst venue I've ever been to. And if you're from Massachusetts, you probably agree with me. Fuck that place. That place is horrible. Who else do I want to see, man? Like, I've seen everyone that I, like, really, really like right now. I want to see Movements again. I always want to see Movements, though. Excuse me. I just want Paris to tour again. I don't need to meet them. I don't need to see them. I just want to know that they're doing something. More than anything. I miss them. If I come up with anything, I'll let you know. But smaller bands, I think, are more fun. I want to see Slaughter Beach Dog. and modern baseball, but modern baseball's not doing shit right now. That makes me really sad. But it's fine. Everything is so fine. Like, it's totally okay. The, one of the best bands in this genre, in pop punk, it just is on hiatus. It's totally okay. I'm totally not crying on the inside. It's totally fine. But music and shows have been a big part of my life, and for a while it was what I wanted to do for a living, before I realized I have no musical talent whatsoever. I can write a lot, and that's, like, part of the reason I'm doing this podcast, is because I want to have an outlet for my poetry. I'm probably going to start reading poems at the end or beginning of my podcast. Let me know if you want to hear that, by the way, because a lot of my poems are meant to be read out loud and not, like, read. So it's something I want to incorporate into my podcast, because it's kind of the reason I made a Patreon anyway. But I realized I don't really have musical talent. I used to be able to play piano, and I took guitar lessons, and it just never clicked with me. But I do really enjoy the whole aspect of performing and entertaining people, hence why spoken word is my best friend. But, watching people create music and, like, put on a show and love that and be able to do that is so fucking cool, dude. Like, to watch people get up on a stage and, like, perform their art in front of thousands of people is so cool. And I really wish I was able to do that, but, like, it's not the crowd aspect that terrifies me, but it's the rejection and, like, the people aren't gonna like what I have to say, or people aren't gonna like my ideas or what I want to do, which sucks that I have that feeling. And I've gotten better at not believing that and, like, having more faith in myself, but, there's still that, like, underlying feeling of doubt, just, like, my art's not good enough to put out there. Like, these podcasts are terrifying to make every single week. I mean, like, what if this is the one that, like, flops real hard and everybody's like, shut the fuck up, no one cares? Or, like, what if it takes off? Like, what if I make something that somehow everybody seems to really like, but then it gets more recognition, and then there's a more opening to, like, just the fear of rejection and failure is so... This is not what this podcast was meant to be, but here's where it's going, I guess. But the fear of failure is just so prominent because growing up, I never really worried about it, I guess. Which sounds horrible. It sounds like my whole life I never really had to worry about failing. But I was never really challenged growing up. Like, everything came very easily to me. And now I'm doing something that I really like doing, and it's harder. And it's terrifying, because what if I'm not good at it? What am I going to do? I'm not good at anything else. I thought I was. Turns out I just wasn't challenged enough. So I thought I was good at it, when in reality it was just something that, like, came easily to me. It's not something I enjoyed doing. It's not something I like. And this goes for, like, schoolwork and, like, writing in general. Like, in elementary school we had, like, writing time, and that was my favorite time of day because I could show off. And it was something I was really good at, but, like, I got extensively praised for it. And then, like, now I have people who, like, actually know what they're fucking saying, actually know what they're doing, and I don't know what I'm doing. Kind of just winging it, and I've been winging it my whole life. I should probably stop doing that, because it's definitely going to get me in some trouble soon. But, enough of this existential talk. Jesus Christ. Actually, you know what? No, because that's all I really have to say is just, it's out there. The fear of failing and the fear of, like, making something that someone really, really doesn't like and is willing to tell you that they don't like it is something that sits with me, I think, every day. Something that, like, crawls in the back of my head and is just like, hey, someone out there is going to hate this. They're going to tell you that they hate this. How are you going to react? And that's why I think when I was younger and on the internet, that anonymous hate on these stupid Ask FM and, like, Curious Cat websites got to me so much. They're funny to me now, and, like, I'll post them on Instagram and you'll see them and you'll just be like, someone has a stick up their ass? Someone drank piss in their cereal this morning? Who the fuck do you think you are trying to call out someone else who lives thousands of miles away for, like, something stupid? for, like, being ugly or having a long neck. Because I actually got hate for having a long neck, which, like, what the fuck, you know? But, like, it used to get to me because I had a lot of attention on me when I was really young. And, again, a lot of you know that because a lot of you were part of that, like, whole culture of... Before Instagram and Stan Twitter were a thing, there was, like, emo fan pages on Instagram. In, like, 2012 to maybe 2015 is when it started dying down. I ran a big page that wasn't even my page. It was more of a, like, Panic at the Disco fan page and my poems every once in a while. They weren't even poems. They were more, like, inspirational rants. But, you know, I got really into writing from doing that and really into, like, that form of media from being a popular... I don't want to say influencer because I was 12, but, like, having a following. And it was terrifying to have so much attention on me when I was 12, 13 years old, because 12, 13-year-olds fuck up. Dude, I said the N-word until freshman year of high school, and I've apologized profusely for it because it's fucked up. But especially now with cancel culture, and, like, how a lot of people will look at something you did 6 years ago and go, hey, that was wrong. I don't care if you've apologized for it, you still did it. Like, there's a difference between holding someone accountable for something and completely disregarding the fact that people change. And I don't know why this podcast took this turn, but this is, like, my brain on autopilot, I guess. But I do want to address this. I did a lot of shitty things when I was younger. The only difference was I had a lot of people paying attention to me, and I was by no means, like, famous or, like, well-known. I would get recognized in public every once in a while, but not, like, to the point where it was overwhelming, or, like, I had people, like, following me, or, like, you know, DMing me, being like, I see you over there, like, it wasn't, like, I had friends, I had internet friends, but I also had a lot of people who did not like me, but I was 12, 13 years old, going through puberty, so it was completely, like, heightened. Everything was heightened. Emotions were, actions were, everything was scary. Like, you're supposed to fuck up when you're a kid. But you're not... Something you do when you're 12 or 13 years old is not gonna scar you for life. It's not supposed to. I did some stupid shit. I also used to think I was straight, so clearly people change. But being 12 or 13 on the internet is a dangerous thing, and I don't recommend anybody now do it. My sister doesn't have any social media, and I'm so happy because it would have been 10 times worse than anything I ever went through. But, you know, it was shitty, because I was so scared of, like, people messaging, because you had the ability to message anonymously, and, like, you didn't need to reveal yourself at all, and you could say horrible things. I got death threats from people. People made hate pages about me and my friends. And it was disgusting. And like, some of the people were a lot older than me. But it was just the time of being able to do this without being reprimanded or being called out for being a horrible person to someone. And, like, I was shitty too. Like, I was trying to be cool. I thought I was a lot cooler than I was. And, like, you know, looking back, it's so cringy. And it's not something I'm proud of. But, like, and obviously, like, the horrible stuff that I did, like, I have addressed and apologized for. I said the N-word a lot, and, like, just was really casually very, like, very ignorant and very misinformed. So I would say a lot of horrible things. I don't even remember what they were, but if you see anything that I've posted from 2012 to, I want to say 2014, that was offensive to you, feel free to call me out about it so I can address it, because honestly, that shit leaves your brain when you repress 4 years of your life. But I'm a better person now, I'd like to think. I don't participate in cancel culture myself, but I don't blame people who do, for the most part. Because a lot of people do some really shitty things that deserve to get their careers ended for. But a lot of it is also, like, misinformation, especially because there's so many ways to get information, so many ways to twist information, especially on the internet. And it's just, I guess this is a continuation of last podcast where I talked about stan culture, but this is just, it gets to be a little ridiculous when, like, someone says something when they're young and naive and impressionable, like, we've all said stupid shit. Do not tell me you were the perfect prepubescent person. No one was. If you meet teenagers now, they're horrible. They're so mean. The only difference is you learn from it, or if you don't learn from it, that's when it becomes an issue. I really started this podcast talking about concerts, and I'm ending it talking about how people are naturally just horrible. Excuse me. But I think I'm going to take that as my note for this week. Don't be a bad person, and if you were a bad person in the past, address it and change. But if you're still a bad person, fuck you. The end. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back next week. I'm going to try and do these on Sundays because they're the days I have time to do them. I've been doing them on Wednesday nights, which is my only day before my day off, which is Thursday usually, but I like to spend my day off being off instead of giving myself more work. This isn't work. I do enjoy doing this, but the whole process of sitting down and recording my voice for an hour gets to be a lot sometimes. So I'm going to thank my patrons real quick, and thank you guys for watching or listening. You're not watching anything. But my patrons this week and this month and whatever. This is the end of the month, by the way, so if you want to re-up and get your name on the next podcast, patreon.com/willowfaith, please. The lowest amount you can donate is $1. The highest amount is whatever the hell you want. Please don't donate that crazy amount because it is monthly. It is a pledge. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. So shouts out to Haley Park, IDK, LOLZ, Willow's mom, Taylor Marshall, Caitlin St. Louis, Sophia, Tina, Shelby Church, Emily Buchanan, Amanda Satterfield, Kat, Holly Rapkin, Mary Cabral, Molly, and Gina. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and I will catch you in the next one next week. Thank you.